One of the most simple and yet also one of the most effective ways of resolving all types of conflicts at workplace that you might have with a coworker or a manager is apologizing for something that you might have said or done that you know rubbed that other person the wrong way or upset them or irritated them. You might have said something in an office meeting, or you might have sent an email or a text message that was inappropriate. Maybe it said some things that are rude, that accuse the other person of something that maybe you can prove they did, or maybe they didn't at all. And now you know that that person is very unhappy about that, and they're angry at you, and it created a tension in the office. Consider coming up to them in person and apologizing. Consider approaching them and saying, "I'm sorry, I reacted emotionally, I was frustrated, I was angry, I was upset, or maybe I had too much to drink," or whatever that reason might be. "I did not mean what I said, I did not mean what I wrote, I would like to apologize." This type of apology is very simple, and it can resolve all kinds of tensions at work. Apology is a grossly underrated tool at work, especially today when people feel that an apology might be a sign of weakness or a sign that you admit that you did something wrong. Now, that last concern is unfounded, and I will talk about it in a moment. But first, I want to say why apology is not just about making you feel good, and it's not just about resolving a tension at work. It can also help you avoid situations where you will be disciplined or even terminated for no good reason. And let's consider a very common situation and see how an apology can come into play. Let's say you receive an unfair performance review, performance evaluation that you believe is unfair, that was issued by your immediate supervisor. And then you come up to them, or you email them, or you even email their superiors, and you say, "He's lying, my performance is better. He doesn't know what he's talking about." Obviously, your boss is not gonna like hearing that. Your boss does not like being called a liar after what he thought in his subjective view was insufficient performance. And let's say you do not come up to him and you don't apologize. So he starts developing this animosity toward you, and then what happens then? He starts looking for a reason to take revenge on you, to hurt you. He might write you up, he might start giving you more difficult job tasks or less desirable clients, or he might even try to set you up for termination. Is that an appropriate and mature behavior on behalf of on the part of your boss? No, it's not. But would that be illegal? No, because this type of actions will not give rise to a retaliation claim, because your complaints about not being evaluated fairly are not considered a protected activity. It's not the same as complaining in good faith about discrimination or harassment or retaliation or safety violations. This would not be a protected activity. So if your boss decides to terminate you because you call him a liar and because you disagree with his performance evaluation, it's going to be perfectly legal. So there is a loss here in this situation on your part as an employee. You call your boss a liar, you create animosity, and you get disciplined or fired for no good reason. Ideally, you don't want to call your boss a liar, because in the vast majority of cases, being rude to your boss is not going to bring any benefit to you. Either it's going to do nothing, or it's going to hurt you and your status at work. But let's say you said it. Let's say you said something, or you wrote something that you felt you needed to express because you were really disappointed at that moment. Had you considered coming up to that supervisor, and had you considered apologizing and saying, "Look, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to call you a liar, I just expected a better performance review," that might have released a lot of the tension and a lot of the animosity between you, and potentially it can save a job. I can see a lot of situations like this where an apology could do a lot of good to the workplace situation, instead of causing demotions, suspensions, or termination just because the manager was upset about what you said for that relatively petty reason. Now, going back to whether apologizing puts you in a inferior spot, so to speak, legally. Many people assume that if they apologize, they admit wrongdoing, and that somehow will weaken their potential discrimination case, wrongful termination case, or anything else. It's not going to do that. There is no way that an apology is going to hurt your case. First of all, if you apologize for saying something that you believed was rude, it usually does not have a whole lot of relevance to any type of legal case. But if you make a claim against your employer sometime in the future for discrimination, harassment, wrongful termination, maybe some other claims, your apology is not gonna impact your claim negatively. Because what determines whether you can prove discrimination, harassment, retaliation are other elements that have nothing to do with your apology. If nothing else, your apology makes you look good because it takes away from the other side. It takes that opportunity away to make you look like a bad person and like a rude person. So if you were treated badly because of your race, because of your disability, religion, you were harassed because of your sexual orientation, you're apologizing about saying something that you thought eventually was inappropriate, it's not going to hurt your case. So you have a lot of reasons to consider apologizing if you said something rude or angry to your coworker, and especially your superior, and you have virtually no reasons to be afraid to apologize when you believe it's appropriate. Thank you.